Timor-Leste's first Winter Olympian had to fund his own Sochi debut with $75,000. Timor-Leste had never appeared at the Winter Olympics before 2014. In Sochi, Johan Gout Gonçalves was the country's only athlete. He reached the Games by meeting the qualification standard in a race in Serbia. He lowered his FIS points below 140 and refused a wild card. To compete in Sochi, he had to raise $75,000, and most of it came from himself and his family. That money covered the trip to the Games. As Timor-Leste's sole competitor, he carried the flag in both ceremonies. He later finished his Olympic slalom debut without a medal. Céline Dion won Eurovision 1988 for Switzerland by 1 point. That is the narrowest kind of victory. The contest was held in Dublin, Ireland, with 22 countries entered. Cyprus had withdrawn before the show began. Switzerland's song was Ni partes pas sans moi, sung in French by Céline Dion. Eurovision's jury system gave each country points and every vote counted. The lead kept shrinking until the final juries voted. The United Kingdom, Denmark, Luxembourg, and Norway finished behind Switzerland. When Yugoslavia gave Switzerland 6 points and the UK none, Switzerland stayed ahead. It became Switzerland's second Eurovision win and the last winning song in French as of 2026. The Huys Dictionary of the Portuguese language was so large that it had to be printed in Italy. Antonio Huys began the project in 1985 as a complete reference for Portuguese. He wanted one work that reached beyond Brazil. By 2001, the first edition had grown to about 228,500 entries across 3,008 pages. A team of about 140 specialists helped build it. The book became too technically demanding for a Brazilian publisher to produce. No local printer had the means to handle a volume that heavy and complex. The finished volume weighed 3.8 kilograms and recorded Portuguese across Brazil, Portugal, Africa, Asia, and other Lusophone regions. Its size turned a dictionary into a cross-continental reference book. Polybius is a fake arcade legend, and its name matches an ancient historian who warned against unverified stories. The legend places the game near Portland in 1981 and says players were affected after using it. No verified 1980s cabinet has ever surfaced. The decisive detail is the paper trail. The earliest known online reference dates to 1998, and the first print mention appeared in Game Pro in 2003. That gap matters because the historian Polybius argued writers should report only what eyewitnesses can verify. The legend does the opposite. So the name becomes the warning. A rumor about an arcade machine now points back to a simple rule: do not repeat what you cannot prove. Fan art of Tweek Tweek and Craig Tucker became canon inside South Park. Their romance started in fandom, then the show made it official. Tweek and Craig were first known mostly as background boys, and earlier episodes showed them as enemies. In fandom around 2005, fans began drawing them as a couple. When the writers noticed the ship, they asked fans for yaoi artwork. About 1,500 pieces were submitted, giving the show a huge stack of fan-made material to work from. Those fan ideas fed into the season 19 episode Tweek x Craig. On screen, the relationship became official, turning a fandom pairing into canon. After that, Creek stayed together in later episodes. What began as fan drawings ended as one of South Park's most talked about LGBTQ storylines. An LGBTQ activist's song about a lesbian seagull ended up on a mainstream movie soundtrack. Engelbert Humperdinck helped popularize it for Beavis and Butt-Head Do America. Tom Wilson Weinberg was a composer, singer, songwriter, and LGBTQ rights activist. He also helped found Giovanni's Room, Philadelphia's first lesbian and gay bookstore. Weinberg spent decades mixing cabaret-style shows with social activism. His song Lesbian Seagull came from that same world of performance and LGBTQ support. The song was covered by Engelbert Humperdinck and placed on the 1996 film soundtrack. That move carried Weinberg's niche track into a much wider movie audience. The result was a rare crossover. A song rooted in LGBTQ activism reached people through a studio album tied to a comedy film. Weinberg's work kept the message inside the music. Josephine Hall became famous for a song she deliberately sang high and off-key. She was Annie Josephine Hall, an American actress and soprano who built her career in musicals and operettas. By the 1890s, she was performing in Broadway productions and touring widely. Her signature number was Sister Mary Jane's Top Note. In that comic song, she pushed her voice up and ended on a deliberately off-key note for the effect. Her 1920 obituary said that performance was what made her most famous. It also named Broadway work in The Girl from Paris and The Girl from Maxim's. Hall retired in 1904, then briefly returned in 1910 for The Air King. She died in 1920, remembered for the rare moment when bad singing was the point. A 3-0 final drew 69,314 fans, setting records for both the League's Cup and Lumen Field. Seattle Sounders hosted Inter Miami in the 2025 League's Cup final at Lumen Field in Seattle. Seattle controlled the match and won 3-0, with Alex Roldan scoring once and setting up 2 more goals. Roldan was named man of the match, and the result confirmed the first League's Cup title for Seattle. Celebrations paused after a post-match fight and later suspensions followed, but the attendance mark still stood.